Hi everyone, it's me again, the mask librarian. And no, I did not forget about the channel. And I'm wearing a mask because I am really afraid of the internet. That's all. There's no other reason. So I've been reading this series called A Letter to the Luminous Deep, and its sequel. It was A Letter from the Lonesome Shore. It's written by Sylvie Cattrall, and I have read a book like this after such a long time. It reminded me a little bit of Piranesi, and it's mostly unique. I think it's written in epistolary form. So it's about this recluse scholar. She isn't a scholar per se, but she qualifies, I think. And later in the book, everyone starts to refer to her as scholar. So she is an introverted person and she's afraid of people, and she's also neurodivergent, and she lives in this mysterious undersea world. Not really, but we'll get into that. There is an undersea world, but she lives in a house built by her mom, which is under the ocean, built on the ocean floor. And she starts sending letters to this another scholar, a proper scholar named Henry Clay. Oh yes, the protagonist is named E. We know her full name, but it's not significant. She just loves to refer to herself as E, I suppose. And they really start to like each other. So they exchange letters about this mysterious fish that E spies on the porthole type thingy that are installed in her underwater house. So they begin to talk about their siblings, and they disappear suddenly. This is the mystery of the first book. Now, this isn't really a spoiler because we know this from the very first chapter, and the framing is like that. E's sister and Henry's brother, after their disappearance, they are exchanging letters that he and Henry wrote to each other. So they are reading their siblings' letter to experience their thought process, and this is also how they are grieving together. They also strike up a friendship, and suddenly they come upon something that is very interesting, that is also a clue to the disappearance of Henry and E. And so the book ends there, and the sequel is interesting too, but I like the first book. It was so mysterious, and in this case of the second book, we already know a bit about the world, but there is a sense of subtle humor that pervades throughout the series, which is very interesting and it will make you chuckle. And I hope more people will read this book because this is very wholesome, and the resolution of the mystery, I have complicated thoughts about it. It's great. It isn't sad like The Storm of Echoes, another series I love, the Mirror Visitors series by Crystal Davo. And this book isn't that sad but I felt at some point that some of the parts were a bit convenient, and I wish the author explored it more. It was also rushed, and There were a bit, pining parts I didn't like I don't want to read about letters and paragraphs after paragraphs of oh how I miss you. No, it was a bit boring at some point, but this is a series I recommend, highly recommend. And I forgot to mention the author's name. I think it's written by Sylvie Cattrall. And I wish she'd read, and I wish she would write more books because I like her prose style. Oh yes, another negative part. The letters, they felt like they were being written by the same person. I would have admired, I would have appreciated a bit of variety in the tones. At some points I couldn't even recognize who's writing to whom. So there's that. But I loved E and Henry together. I wish the entire series was from their points of view, but it is not technically possible, so we're getting what is the best option. So overall, a great reading experience, and the sequel is releasing soon. I think it has already been released. I'm not so sure, but I highly recommend you this series, and hopefully you will, or some of you will check out this series and talk to me about it. Okay, so I'll see you again in another video. Take care. Bye bye.